The rise and fall of SpongeBob SquarePants. What happened?
Alright, let's get real. What actually happened to SpongeBob SquarePants? Its
SpongeBob
golden
was a very
age of a
good show.
universally loved
I
cartoon
love
has
this.
faded
This part
away to
is
an
so
almost
fire.
unrecognizable show to many of its original fans, depending on how you look at it. Why is that? For all of us, SpongeBob was more than quirky fun.
Wait,
It had
I'm gonna keep it a buck. OG Naruto with the animation that VC just now is way better than the new SpongeBob. It looked fleshed out. Like it's like brain rot. Like when I watch it, it's like it has no substance to it. It's not funny. They do dumb stuff for no reason, my nigga. Like they just make certain kill. Like Patrick was not like he was genuinely dumb, but it's like back then he was genuinely dumb and he would only mess stuff up from fucking being very, what's the word I'm looking for? He would be, I can't think of the word. I hate when it happened, but y'all know what I'm talking about. He would mess stuff up because he just don't know how to do it. Naive. He was very naive. That's what it was. Nowadays, Patrick just messed stuff up. Like he just do it. He don't care. He don't even care.
these heartfelt messages woven into all that silliness, but it has slowly turned into something else entirely, filled with louder gags, simpler plots, and divisive spin-offs. Was it due to network
And
pressures
Patrick's
to
show
keep
was
SpongeBob
garbage.
profitable, or did Nickelodeon's influence water down the show, prioritizing merchandise over quality? Today, SpongeBob is still here, but feels like a distant memory of what it once was. And to truly understand what happened, we need to start from the beginning. Believe it or not, SpongeBob SquarePants wasn't born in a traditional TV writer's room, but rather in the mind of a marine biologist. Before creating the show, Steven Hillenburg was knee-deep in tide pools as a marine biology teacher at the Ocean Institute in Dana Point, California. Fascinated by the sea and the creatures within it, Hillenburg wanted a way to bring the ocean to life for others. The wacky world we know as Bikini Bottom actually started as a simple underwater sketch.
That's fire.
Hillenburg had this idea for a comic book called The Intertidal Zone to get his students more engaged with marine life. From that, he created these goofy underwater characters, which later evolved into the world of SpongeBob we all know today. And look at the show now. I'm here telling you a whole essay about it. I hear you wondering, why a sponge? What's the logic there? Hillenburg initially considered making the main character an inanimate object, and a sponge seemed odd enough to be funny and relatable. It had the simplicity of shape and color he needed, and unlike many of the other marine animals he drew, a sponge had this bizarre flexibility that allowed for almost any kind of story or personality. When it came to personality, though, Hillenburg was inspired by classic comedy. While talking about the inspiration behind the character, Hillenburg said, "I think SpongeBob was born out of my love of Laurel and Hardy shorts. You've got that kind of idiot buddy situation. That was a huge influence. SpongeBob was inspired by that kind of character. The innocent, a la Stan Laurel. And I think we can all agree that he totally nailed it, right?" He wanted SpongeBob to be a one-of-a-kind character, someone who was pure, naive, and driven by curiosity rather than common sense. And in my opinion, that's part of why he's so entertaining to watch.
Yeah,
The unique choice of setting for
I like how I don't like shows where characters know everything. I'm keeping it up, but some shows they could put it off very good. Most shows can't. I like when, like, for example, SpongeBob, this nigga over here, or Patrick. They very naive. They over here jellyfishing. Patrick can't hit a jellyfish. He's getting stung. That's funny. Instead of him going around and he's getting stung on purpose. That's different. You feel like it's different.
For SpongeBob's world also has an interesting origin. Bikini Bottom is inspired by Bikini Atoll, a real location in the Pacific Ocean known for its atomic bomb tests during the mid-20th century. Hillenburg playfully incorporated this name, adding an almost ironic twist to the show's setting. SpongeBob may be a lighthearted slapstick comedy, but if you pay close attention, you'll notice it subtly weaves in a darker undertone. There are plenty of these hidden layers to dig into, and I'll get back to that later in the video. Now, SpongeBob didn't just stay in Hillenburg's sketchbook for long. When he transitioned from the Ocean Institute to animation, Hillenburg brought his beloved Sponge character with him. After working on Rocko's Modern Life, a popular Nickelodeon show, Hillenburg saw an opportunity to pitch SpongeBob as a full-blown animated series. He had the concept art, the sketches, and the storyline already mapped out. Nickelodeon executives were skeptical at first. A sea sponge? Really? But Hillenburg's pitch was compelling. He convinced them that SpongeBob's unique blend of slapstick humor, quirky innocence, and eccentric cast of characters could work. And with that, SpongeBob SquarePants went from a marine biologist's passion project to one of the most recognizable faces in television history. What's fascinating is how
I definitely think SpongeBob is the most recognizable face in cartoon history. I genuinely believe that. I feel like if you go up to anybody at any point in time since SpongeBob has came out, if you go to somebody right now, no matter what age they are, I feel like they're gonna know what SpongeBob is. 100%. They are gonna know what SpongeBob is. I don't care what nobody tell me. They will know what SpongeBob is.
The show was made to be enjoyed by kids and adults alike. Hillenburg was passionate about the idea that animation should be boundary pushing, not limited to specific age groups. He wanted SpongeBob to be something of a cartoon everyman. Silly, but resilient, foolish, but oddly relatable. And this blend of childlike.
Oh, that's what I be wanting from cartoons, bro. Stop trying to make it, oh, if you 13 years old or lower, it's for you. Like, bro, SpongeBob was genuinely funny. It's not straight cringe, bro. It was genuinely funny. I can still watch SpongeBob episodes right now. I could go and rewatch the good ones right now. I could still laugh at them, bro. I'm 21 years old now. I just turned 21. But it's like, bro, SpongeBob was able, like, when you got some diversity and you don't just try to be friendly, you could come up with some pretty good things. You come up with a lot of good things out of that, bro. You come up with a lot of, like, PJ Masks. Nigga, you think I'm finna watch PJ Masks? No, that's for little kids. SpongeBob is for everybody, nigga. SpongeBob is for everybody.
Wonder with humor proved to be exactly what audiences were looking for. And that was only the beginning. Once SpongeBob hit the airwaves, things started to take off in ways no one anticipated. But how did this become a phenomenon? Well, when SpongeBob SquarePants premiered on May 1st, 1999, it hit audiences with a quirky, vibrant energy that was unlike anything on TV at the time. Nickelodeon had stumbled upon something special. Within months, SpongeBob was everywhere. Kids loved his goofy charm, parents enjoyed the clever humor, and teenagers quickly adopted the show as a cult favorite. SpongeBob became an icon. But what was it about this show that captured so many hearts? SpongeBob's rise to fame happened at the intersection of a few unique cultural factors. At the time, Nickelodeon was in a golden era itself. The network was pushing the boundaries of kids' TV with shows like Hey Arnold and The Fairly Odd Parents.
But the Odd Parents so fire, dude.
Partly because it didn't seem aimed only at kids.
Exactly.
Humor was layered, often absurd, and filled with references that even adults found hilarious.
In fact, let me not chill, bro. That one episode where SpongeBob was cussing out Mr. Krabs was so fucking funny, bro. He was really going crazy. And it's like, I like that type of stuff because I hate when they try to make a main character of a show like 30 years old and then it's targeted towards children. It's like, bro, why is a 30-year-old acting like you feel what I'm saying? Why is a 30-year-old and it's being targeted towards children for? You're 30 years old, you're not a kid. So it's like, you telling me you don't cuss, you only do stuff little kids do. How do that sound to y'all? 30-year-old only do stuff little kids do. How do that sound to you? You right there, yeah, you. Matter of fact, I'm not gonna do that. How do it sound though? How do it sound? Sound crazy, right?
SpongeBob's optimism, Squidward's sarcastic misery, and Patrick's well-meaning idiocy. Each character represented a different side of the human experience. The result was a show that was innocent but never overly sweet, bizarre but weirdly relatable. As the show grew in popularity, SpongeBob became a cultural touchstone. From memes to merchandise, it seeped into every aspect of pop culture. There were wild fan theories, even in these early days, ranging from the Patrick CIA theory to the Squilliam imposter theory. You can watch my videos on these theories through the description below. One popular theory suggests that each of the characters in Bikini Bottom represents one of the 7 deadly sins. If you haven't heard about this theory, let me give you a little background.
I haven't.
SpongeBob embodies lust with his relentless enthusiasm and obsessive passion for life. Patrick represents sloth, rarely doing much of anything. Squidward channels wrath with his constant frustration and anger. The theory goes on to attribute pride to Sandy, greed to Mr. Krabs, gluttony to Gary, and envy to Plankton. I know it's wild, but it also makes you
I won't even say it's wild. It sounds like it's true, actually. The most of the
wonder if
characters.
there's some truth in the madness. Hillenburg always had a knack for hiding layers of meaning, even in seemingly silly characters. But it wasn't just the fans who fueled SpongeBob's success. The writers and animators were on fire during these early seasons. Each episode
Ooh,
was
this
crafted
episode
with
was
a sense of
on fire.
experimentation and freedom, and it shows. Scenes like SpongeBob's ridiculous karate skills with Sandy, or Patrick's famous "Is mayonnaise an instrument?" line.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument.
Became instant classics. This was the golden age, roughly the first 3 seasons, when the show felt innovative and fresh. Fans were hooked, and Nickelodeon couldn't get enough of their Sponge superstar. Then came the SpongeBob SquarePants movie in 2004, a moment many fans consider the pinnacle of the franchise. The film felt like a love letter to the characters and fans alike. It brought in elements that were bigger, bolder, and somehow even more absurd than the series. SpongeBob, Patrick, and even Plankton were given heroic arcs, and the stakes were raised in a way that hadn't been done before. Some fans even believe the movie was intended as the show's grand finale, partly because Steve Hillenburg himself was ready to step away. He had been closely involved, and after the film's release, he handed over the day-to-day reins of the series to other producers. For me, this marked the end of SpongeBob's golden age. After the success of the movie, something shifted in Bikini Bottom. Since Hillenburg was no longer there to supervise the show, its tone and style began to change.
That's what
Honestly,
I'm saying, like
I started
that.
noticing a shift.
That's what, like, that's not funny, gang. That's not funny at all. Like, if it would have happened in a different way, it would have been fun. But this is not funny. Like, you feel what I'm saying? This is, come on, bro. This is not funny,
as early as
dude.
season 4.
I could not
For
laugh
me
at
and
that.
countless other fans, things started to feel different. Episodes were becoming more chaotic, character dynamics skewed, but
No, I like that episode, I ain't gonna lie.
up on this? Does this sound
That Sandy
familiar to
one.
you? SpongeBob, once a lovable optimist, started veering into hyperactive child territory. Squidward's cynicism turned from a relatable frustration to outright misery.
That's what
And
I'm saying,
Patrick's
bro.
goofiness drifted toward oblivious cruelty. It was as if each
told
character
you.
had been dialed up to a
It
caricature,
went from Patrick being very, like, what was the word I said earlier? I'm trying to remember again. Naive. He was very naive. He would try to do stuff. For example, when SpongeBob had all them trophies, he had all those trophies. Patrick wanted a trophy, so he went out and tried to get a trophy himself. You feel what I'm saying? He was really, like, doing stuff. Like, he would go try to do stuff like that. He just wouldn't be able to do it because he's naive or something. But nowadays, he just do dumb stuff. Like, he just does dumb stuff on purpose. Like, he purposely just go out and hurt people. Back then, he used to genuinely be scared of hurting people. Like, not scared, but he used to genuinely feel remorse for hurting people. He used to care when he hurt people. Nowadays, he's just doing it and he don't care at all. Like, these characters changing for the worse, bro. Like, what's another example? Like, for example, when they was trying to get on the they was getting the stuff off of the hooks, and Patrick was and Mr. Krabs was telling them don't do that because you feel what I'm saying, you know what's gonna happen if you do that. They like, but that ain't basically, he like, that's not gonna happen to us. He lying. And when it started to happen to them, they felt bad about it. He felt bad about it. You feel what I'm saying?
and that didn't sit well with longtime fans. Meanwhile, episodes became increasingly surreal. They were relying on
what is
twisted,
this?
exaggerated humor and visual gags that felt almost disturbing compared to earlier seasons.
Genuinely,
Gone
what is
were the
that?
clever gags and subtle jokes. In their place were slapstick scenes that often
And what is
bordered on
this?
uncomfortable. For instance, in later episodes, we started seeing characters suffer injuries or behave in ways that felt mean-spirited rather than funny. This was when I really started to feel like the show had lost its spark. And then
Genuinely.
things got even worse. Season 6 rolled around, and this era is often seen as a real low point in SpongeBob's history. Episodes like the Splinter and A Pal for Gary weren't just dark.
Yeah, the
they felt
Splinter
unsettling,
like
with
looked
narratives that seemed
ugly.
more
It looked
mean-spirited
nasty,
than funny.
dude. Like,
Are you a
bro,
Roblox
it
fanatic?
looked bad.
Microsoft
Like, it's
Rewards
just
has a brand
bad.
new way for you to earn digital.
It's just bad, honestly.
What was going on here? Instead of simple, humorous conflicts, these episodes featured twisted visuals and intense scenarios that felt far from the lighthearted spirit of the earlier seasons. This period of unsettling episodes only added fuel to the fire, sparking another fan theory. But as they say, each disadvantage has its advantage, right? Anyway, this theory goes that the creators were intentionally turning
I like this
SpongeBob into a
episode.
satire of itself. According to this theory, the later episodes were kind of a social experiment, testing how much audiences could tolerate before finally tuning out. It's a dark take, but the fact that it even exists shows just how deeply fans feel about the show. And these changes sparked speculations that the character's evolution reflects the Flanderization phenomenon, a term referring to how characters in long-running series become exaggerated versions of themselves over time.
Yeah, because
Critics weren't
it's
blind.
because they have to. They literally have to. If a character be the same exact way the entire series, it get harder and harder to actually write anything. So they have to do that. But it's like, you should have been ended the series. You just making a series. You're draining the series out of there. Like, you're draining the life out of the series. You're doing what they say. You're doing too much, bro. You gotta calm down, slow down. Sometimes you need to end a series for it to be good. Like, bro, come on, but SpongeBob, the way that it's going right now is genuinely sad. I'm not gonna lie, it's genuinely sad. Cause like, bro, such a good series, and now it's gonna be looked at as mid because they messed it up so bad that it's not good anymore.
As a groundbreaking series, SpongeBob became the subject of growing criticism. Some pointed fingers at Nickelodeon's decision to keep the show running despite Hillenburg's departure.
Exactly.
That without his guidance, SpongeBob SquarePants had lost
It was
its
his
way.
idea.
By
It was his
2005,
idea,
SpongeBob
of course.
SquarePants was no longer the quirky, experimental show that captured the hearts of both kids and adults. Nickelodeon had taken note of its massive success and began to make intentional shifts, hoping to keep the momentum going, but with a different target in mind. Nickelodeon started leaning into content that catered almost exclusively to younger viewers, resulting in simpler jokes, more exaggerated expressions, and repetitive plots. The earlier seasons had a unique knack for layering humor, appealing to multiple age groups with clever wordplay and subtle nods to adult concerns. But now, the humor became broader and the storylines were less nuanced. Old SpongeBob, characters were more relatable and had clear motivations. SpongeBob was depicted
I
as
said that
innocent
earlier.
and optimistic, and his friendships with characters like Patrick and Sandy were central to the stories. New SpongeBob, while the core characters remain, their personalities have become more exaggerated. SpongeBob is often portrayed as more naive and childlike, and other characters like Squidward have become more cynical and less nuanced. Episodes often leaned on visual gags rather than witty exchanges or thoughtful scenarios. Longtime fans noticed the shift and began.
Back in the day, Squidward used to rely. He could try to rely on SpongeBob and him for some things. For example, that band episode, he was trying to rely on them to learn how to play the instruments and play a good song. Nowadays, he just would not do that. He would not even try to rely on them at all. He wouldn't even try. It's like like they said, every character personality is exaggerated in the wrong way possible. SpongeBob is more childlike. He's 30 years old, grown ass man, working a job, doing all this other shit, living by himself, but he's acting like a little boy. Back then, SpongeBob would get angry at certain things if it happened. Nowadays, he is not the same. He would get mad at certain things back then. He would get mad. I mean, that one time he got, like I said, he got mad at Mr. Krabs when he got mad at Squidward for when Mr. Krabs wouldn't when he fired Squidward over that penny. He got mad at Squidward and Mr. Krabs. He would get mad at Patrick sometimes too. I don't think I remember him getting mad at Sandy in none of the good episodes though.
began to feel that the show was becoming a bit, well, younger. Rather than the layered appeal of classic SpongeBob, episodes began to play things safe and straightforward, focusing on bright visuals and easy-to-grasp punchlines that didn't require a second thought. A new trend was creeping in: gross-out humor and these unexpectedly dark themes. For example, if you remember A Pal for Gary, you know that SpongeBob introduced a friend for Gary who ended up terrorizing him, while SpongeBob was totally oblivious to his pet's suffering. I mean, who even came up with this idea? And don't even get me started on one-course meal. Mr. Krabs goes so far as to torment Plankton, preying on his deepest fears in a way that even suggests suicidal thoughts? Like, who would do that? Who goes that far? These storylines felt mean-spirited and misguided, and obviously, the controversial episodes left fans convinced that SpongeBob had lost its way. As the show's tone shifted,
now I'm not gonna lie. Some of the episodes, the Dark Humor episodes I liked, but it's a lot of, like, he is saying some truth inside of this, but I don't agree with everything he's saying right now. I feel like when they start doing stuff like when they changed the animation, made everything super bright and all that stuff like that, I feel like that's when it started really going downhill the most.
Fans began to speculate about Nickelodeon's influence on its content. A popular theory emerged suggesting that SpongeBob SquarePants has become increasingly commercialized, with Nickelodeon pushing for more merchandise-friendly content and episodes that would fit into a marketable mold. This theory holds that Nickelodeon's executives had effectively turned SpongeBob into a cash cow, focusing on formulaic episodes that would churn out toys, apparel, and other merchandise. Episodes were allegedly toned down or simplified not for artistic reasons, but to appeal to younger, merchandise-buying audiences and keep SpongeBob's brand strong and profitable. Many fans believe this commercial focus compromised the integrity of the show, transforming it from a unique piece of animation into a vehicle for mass-market appeal. Despite these changes, the internet played a surprising role in keeping SpongeBob relevant, breathing new life into the series through memes. Fans took moments from both the classic and newer episodes, pulling out scenes and expressions that lent themselves perfectly to internet humor. Who could forget the mocking SpongeBob meme or handsome Squidward? Even episodes that
Handsome
fans
Squidward
weren't
still to go
necessarily
to this
fond of
day.
had segments that became wildly popular online. This constant stream of SpongeBob-themed memes made the character and his friends staples of internet culture. In a nutshell, the memes derived from declining seasons kept SpongeBob alive in the digital sphere, and then the 2010s brought some attempts to recapture the magic. I mean, fans were vocal about the declining quality of the show, so Nickelodeon took note and attempted to rekindle the spark. One of the biggest comeback moves came with the return of Steven Hillenburg in 2014. Personally, I felt that his influence could revive the heart and humor that defined the show's early years.
It's been too long.
Under his direction, some episodes took on a fresher feel. In 2015, we watched the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water, which brought SpongeBob and his friends into the 3D realm and aimed to reach both nostalgic fans and new audiences. Obviously, the movie was a great success. In fact, it became the second highest grossing film based on an animated television show, behind the Simpsons movie released in 2007. Unfortunately, Hillenburg's comeback was tragically cut short when he passed away in 2018. Now, the
R.I.P.
modern SpongeBob fanbase is now divided, with opinions ranging from loyalty to disillusionment. Some fans continue to find joy in the show's evolution, enjoying the new content and supporting the spin-offs as a way of keeping SpongeBob's legacy alive for new generations. Others feel that the show has drifted too far from what made it special. To these fans, the newer episodes lack the magic of Hillenburg's original vision and feel like a distant echo of the show they once loved. Now, there is this theory that suggests SpongeBob's decline mirrors broader trends in children's television.
You gotta also remember, he had to dead convince them to allow him to work for this show. Like, he had to convince them to do that. They couldn't even fathom this show being good. Like, they couldn't even fathom it. So it's like, of course they're not gonna be able to actually do anything good with the show, because they never had the thought of, oh, this is how the character's gonna be rolling. Oh, this is how the show is gonna be. He had all that inside of his head. They couldn't do it because they didn't have the idea for it. They couldn't understand them. So that's why he could. That's why he could make stuff good and they couldn't. They wasn't the same.
Stimulating to compete with other digital entertainment. In today's world of social media and instant gratification, shows have had to evolve, using rapid pacing and high-energy antics to keep viewers hooked. So SpongeBob's transformation isn't just about the show, it's about an entire industry scrambling to stay relevant in the TikTok era. And don't get me wrong, they're doing their best, but it's a far cry from those slower, more thoughtful episodes we loved. Ultimately, SpongeBob SquarePants has had an incredible journey, and I believe that the show's evolution reflects a mix of artistic choices, executive decisions, and changing audience preferences. So, after all these ups and downs, where does SpongeBob SquarePants really stand in TV history? Are you a
Well, I'm gonna keep it a bug. It really don't matter though. SpongeBob is still gonna be one of the best shows in cartoon history. It's like really not up for debate. It's just they should have ended it a long time ago before the TikTok era really started going crazy. Like before they had to change the way that they are. They should have been stopped that. Hey, like, comment, and subscribe. Hey,